for the lowly and pagan. He keeps the earth in orbit, rotating in orderly cadence and glorious raiment. From the sun to the smallest atom, all for the fallen Adam. Honor the God who's matchless, keeping it propped on his axis. Even though we're delinquent on property taxes, he could have foreclosed it, making us homeless, leaving the city bleeding for pity or more reproach. But he's giving time for growth like forbearance on a college loan. He'll certainly get every dime that's owed, and from his mercy seat, look at what your eyes behold, a ubiquitous witness. So we know it's God, we don't need any sixth sense. For instance, to get this, we're notified by what he organized as his witnesses. Common grace, giving grace unto us commoners, working so all can acknowledge and honor him as followers. Since the beginning is the time it was designed, as such he's kind to us, so it's time for mimicking his kind of love. Be washed in the water of his word and called as his church when the follower deserves. Since the beginning is the time it was designed, as such he's kind to us, so it's time for mimicking his kind of love. Be washed in the water of his word and called as his church when the follower deserves. Even for the broken abasement, he gave his word to God, a relation to God and creation. Do the obvious, thank him. He's governing all the atlas, but subject to all his aspects. So honor the God who's matchless. He could have considered us rejects, but the Lord is good and he's given us precepts. It's easy receiving a blessing, but many will agree there's no ease in this being corrected. But without it, there's a lot of confusion. People offer their 2 cents, but that don't change our chronic abuse. They be like, do what works for you. A plan of arrogance, we need a universal view like a planetarium to see all he ordained and all he arranged and all he explains. Forgetting people to call on his name. It's the smorgasbord that the Lord affords like an ordered course, and it shows us more than awarded tours. Since the beginning is the time it was designed, as such he's kind to us, so it's time for mimicking his kind of love. Be washed in the water of his word and called as his church when the follower deserves. Since the beginning is the time it was designed, as such he's kind to us, so it's time for mimicking his kind of love. Be washed in the water of his word and called as his church when the follower deserves. Do you see his present gifts as evidence of benevolence that beckons us to fellowship with the King of Kings? Like especially his kingdom speech, the word in the flesh, the full deity within the seed of Eve. He paid our full penalty, including legal fees. He could have had a PhD the way he healed disease, so he's able to fix them. With one stroke of his mighty word, you might have heard of the greatest physician. It's Jesus who teaches, Jesus who leads us, Jesus who leaves us his thesis and speaks in more volumes than encyclopedias, till a lifeless deviant is harpooned. Cause he's fishing for men like Wahoo for his trophy case, so displayed in the way that he caught you and reeling them in just to show his grace to a lowly race and to prove that his statements are all true. Since the beginning is the time it was designed, as such he's kind to us, so it's time for mimicking his kind of love. Be washed in the water of his word and called as his church when the follower deserves. Since the beginning is the time it was designed, as such he's kind to us, so it's time for mimicking his kind of love. Be washed in the water of his word and called as his church when the follower deserves. Since the beginning is the time it was designed, as such he's kind to us, so it's time for mimicking his kind of love. Be washed in the water of his word and called as his church when the follower deserves. Since the beginning is the time it was designed, as such he's kind to us, so it's time for mimicking his kind of love. Be washed in the water of his word and called as his church when the follower deserves.